Honorable Acting Mayor Joey Nixon. Is that?
Appreciate everybody being here tonight. It's my honor to welcome everybody to the May 2019 County Commissioners meeting. We're going to get started off with prayer tonight. Mr. Jason Stewart, would you lead some prayer, please?
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we humbly bow before you tonight, dear Lord. We just give you the thanks and honor and glory, dear Heavenly Father, for all the many blessings you give us each and every day of our life, dear Heavenly Father, while we're here on this whole world, dear Heavenly Father. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so thankful, dear Heavenly Father, for this great nation you give us to live in, dear Heavenly Father. We're just so thankful that we're able to worship and honor you, dear Heavenly Father, tonight without fear of persecution, dear Heavenly Father. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this great state of Tennessee, dear Heavenly Father. We're thankful for this great county we live in, dear Heavenly Father. We just ask you to continue to love and bless this county, dear Heavenly Father, as we go throughout, dear Heavenly Father. Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask you to be with us tonight. Lead and guide us, dear Heavenly Father, in the decisions that we make here tonight, dear Heavenly Father. May that be the best decision made, dear Heavenly Father, for the betterment of this county, dear Heavenly Father. Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask you to be with us again, once again, dear Heavenly Father, and be with the ones that are sick and shut in tonight, dear Heavenly Father. We just lift them up to you, dear Lord, and all these things we ask in Christ Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jason. Mr. Terry Gibbons, you lead some pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. All right, Ms. Stacy, roll call, please.
Shannon Green.
Here.
Lynn Reese.
Here.
Terry Gibbons.
Here.
Billy Bass.
Here.
Greta Kirby.
Here.
Jason Stewart.
Here.
Jimmy Winfrey.
Here.
Daniel Cripps.
Here.
Dalton Pascal.
Here.
Shannon Minchie.
Here.
Erica Ebel.
Here.
Ron Shoemake.
Here.
Ron Cowan.
Here.
Linda Nixon.
Here.
Kobe McKinney.
Here.
Barbara Knappel.
Here.
Charles Kent.
Here.
Bill Reese.
Here.
Tommy Vane.
Here.
Joey Nixon.
Here.
Dennis Hackett.
Here.
David Gross.
Here.
Frank Woodard.
Here.
23. All right. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. You may notice Jeff Mason looks a little different tonight. Jeff has a letter that he's included, I think, in everybody's packet. He is, and I'm going to read it real quick for everybody who's watching at home. Dear County Commission, I apologize for being absent tonight. My daughters and their teammates are playing in Whitwell, Tennessee in a regional semifinal. My oldest daughter, Maggie, has been playing softball for 14 years and pitching for 8. Tonight could end her career as this elimination game. I chose to attend this game because this may be the last time I get to see her pitch. I hope you understand. I have full faith that business tonight will be handled. I urge you all to attend the Budget and Finance meeting the next few weeks and a special called work session on the 28th. Please contact me if you need anything. Sincerely, Smith County Mayor Jeff Mason. So I think we can all understand where Jeff's coming from and putting family as a priority. So I'm sure we'll take everything in stride. So next up, Next up, item number 5, recognition of Eden Daniel. Eden here. This is it. So I'm going to read this proclamation that Jeff wrote. Whereas Eden Daniel started cheering while in the 5th grade and was invited to Walt Disney World to perform in the World National Parade. And whereas in the 6th grade, Eden was named first All-American cheerleader and performed at Disney World again in the Thanksgiving Day Parade. And whereas in the 7th grade, Eden was named All-American for a second time and performed in Walt Disney World's Christmas Spectacular that was televised on Christmas morning. And whereas in the 8th grade, Eden was named co-captain and was selected for All-American for the 3rd time as an All-American Spirit. Eden was also invited to perform at the Citrus Bowl, but due to a knee injury, was not able to. Now, therefore, the Smith County Mayor, on this, the 13th day of May 2019, does hereby present this letter of honor to Ms. Eden Daniel for outstanding accomplishment and achievements. Thank you, Eden. So moving ahead to item number 6, recognition of Boys and Girls States for mayor for a day. Is any of the Boys and Girls State representatives here tonight? I'm sorry, man. What's your name?
Chloe Phillips.
Chloe? You get a, just keep all those in one hand. Back up. Here, Chloe, I'll present this to you. You're the only one here, you gotta speak for everybody, you know that, right? I don't have a big speech for you, but I know I got to see you guys when Jeff came around and presented, and appreciate what you're doing, and we appreciate you being part of our community, so thank you. Picture.
Where are the classmates at?
Okay, thank you. Okay. Item number 7 is a presentation from Senator Mark Pody regarding this year's general session. Mr. Pody, I will give you the floor. Or Mark, I should say, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And members of the commission, I came in front of you at one time and I said I wanted to come twice per year. Once before we go into session and once when we're done with session. So when I go before we go into session, I want to find out what was most important on your minds, and once session's over, I want to come and report back to y'all and tell you what we passed, how it affected the county, and things like that. I've actually met with Charlie Curtis, and I know Charlie actually represents y'all, and he is one of the most respected lobbyists down at the Capitol. But a couple things that we did do was you all actually sent us a resolution back a couple years ago. And it had to do with smoking, and had to do with being able to regulate where people smoke and such, and letting the county commission make some of those determinations in parks and so forth. So we actually passed that, and so your resolution as well as others, we did hear it. It did take a couple years to get through it, but it did pass. So you all can be able to help kind of make some determinations of how you want to set up smoking and non-smoking areas in public places. Something else that's passed that's going to be having an effect on y'all is internet sales. And up till now, what's been happening is and such, even though it's been required that people actually remit these taxes, not everybody has been doing that on a regular basis. So there's been some structure put to it. And not only is it going to be collected, another thing that y'all sent to us, or that said that we want to be very clear, was that tax was going to go back to where it originated. So, typically right now, if I go and I live in one county or city and I go somewhere else, they're going to collect the tax and so forth, and that's going to happen. But with this new tax, when somebody buys it on the internet, it's going to come here to the local municipality or the local county. So that's going to be a good system to get even people buying from out of state or out of town to make sure the tax dollars come right back here. Something else that we did pass was a lot of our police officers are actually having to transfer people that have medical issues or mental illness, and when they transfer these prisoners or whatever, they're not getting the reimbursement. They're not even always equipped to do it. So we tried to address that to take it away from the sheriff's department so much, and that way we're going to be putting extra money, so it shouldn't be such a drag on the law enforcement areas in all counties across the state. So that should help bring the savings back to the county as well. We also passed something, and this is going to be on some of the liens that were collected. One of it's going to be, we're going to be giving back about $2.5 million across the state, and letting our registered deeds and such start, the money that they're collecting, there's going to be an additional $3 fee that's going to stay with the local counties. Now, how much it's going to affect you all, I don't know what it's going to affect this county, but it was revenue that the state said that instead of us collecting it, it's going to be coming back to the local counties. In education, we set some money aside for school safety programs. In fact, we set quite a few millions of dollars aside Not all schools have RSO officers, and those that do, we've said there's going to be some money, some grant money available that even if they have an RSO, if they need safety for locks or for windows or doors or things like that, we try and say that there's going to be some money that's going to be set aside for the state, for local counties, so they don't have to take that expense themselves. In the transportation, something that was going to be a pretty big deal is the county used to have to put up 25% for state match. And a couple years ago, they said, we're going to do a trial program, and it dropped down to 2%. That was just a pilot program, and that's actually coming to an end. However, we said instead of having a pilot program, the state said we're going to keep that permanent from now on, so the counties can get some transportation funds by a 2% match rather than 25%. So it's not going to go back up to the 25%. They're going to keep it at 2%. We made some new grant money for volunteer firemen to buy new equipment. So this is a new grant program that's going to be coming available. So our local fire departments, in most of the state, we got about 80-some% of the state is actually covered by volunteer firemen. And so we're trying to set some money aside so they can buy some equipment. There's a lot of fire departments that need some new equipment or upgrading their equipment. So we put some money aside for that. So that should help on a local basis as well. We've also said for local governments, police officers, they've been going, and when they go for their classes, they've been getting reimbursed $600. And it's been $600 for that week for many, many years. So we've gone ahead and increased that to $800, and the state's going to pick up that extra $200 for them. So law enforcement are going to that program should get an extra $200 reimbursement for that. We're trying to do this all at state expense, so we're not trying to pass anything on to the county. In fact, I don't think that we really pass anything where we pass on unfunded mandates. What we're trying to do is say that we're going to pass it. We try to make sure that we funded it so it would help as well. We did set aside another $1 million for rural health programs, and this is going to be for our hospitals. I represent one hospital that closed up in Clay County, Salina. And it's tragic when a hospital goes under. So we're trying to do everything I can. In fact, the governor and I actually met on that hospital. And we're trying to say we got to make sure that hospitals don't close, that we can make sure that they're delivering the services in a way that they're at least getting the reimbursement that they need, and they're going to be staying here. So rural hospitals were going to be very important to not only the governor but the legislature, so we're trying to set some extra money aside for that. The one thing that we continue to work on is, back a few years ago, there was a fee that you all collected. You got basically 5% from the fee that the registry of deeds had collected. And there was a lot of proclamations and resolutions that were sent down to Capitol saying we want to get that money back. Right now, about 2% stays with the county, 3% goes back to the state. The state needed that money back in about 2008. They were going through a financial crisis, and they actually took the money just because they could, but they never reimbursed it, they never gave it back. So we're trying to make it where it's going to come back, and that's right now stalled. But that is something that was sent to us, and we want to try and get that back to y'all as well. All right, a couple of things that they did. I will tell you that the governor has said this. His very first act as governor, executive order, was to say rural Tennessee was his top priority. And up till now, it seems that so many of the big cities have been getting a lot of the extra funding and things like that. And he tried to say that he wants it to stop here, and he wants to make sure that it's going to some rural communities just like this one right here. So he's taken, and he said he put $25 million aside for to give grant programs to upgrade K through 12 career technical training. He wants to make sure our high schools get that money here. He's also put aside money for $2 million for grants to enhance rural high school programs. He said broadband is going to be very important to him. He's put another $20 million for broadband initiative for the second and third year, so we can help get more broadband here. And I'm going to tell you, when we talk money like $20 million across the state, that's not a lot of money. All right, it's just not. But we're hoping that that's going to partner with some of the other ones that are going to be going in that help get them the incentive to say, even if it's not as profitable right now, we're trying to at least give something that they can continue to grow. He's also put some agribusiness money. He's put $500,000 on a recurring basis to help farmers here to say if they want to start a business in their farm or whatever, that he can set some money aside to help do some of those things. Those are mainly the highlights that we did pass. The state itself is actually in pretty good financial shape, and one of the things that they did do is they've actually put our rainy day fund to the highest it's ever been. It's $1.1 billion, and if we look at it, we believe that the state's in a great economy right now, but it's not going to stay this way forever. And we feel that when the time comes that the economy does turn, we don't want to have to come back and cut either services or raise taxes, so we're trying to set that money aside now. The other thing that we did was for public education. The governor made the record investment in public education. This is the most money that we've ever put into public education. And our local teachers, we put an extra $71 million for their raises. So we've tried to really make good on that promise to our teachers. We've made sure that their pensions are funded. And the other thing we did for law enforcement, we told them that after 25 years, if they're the PCRS, that they have the option of retirement. Doesn't mean they have to retire, just means they have an option. It would be at a lower retirement cost, but we did it in such a way that it wouldn't cost the county any money. So if they're going to retire, it'd be up to the officers to make that decision what they're going to do. But there's actually a shortage in hiring officers right now across the state, and especially like in Nashville. So we're trying to make it where younger people would say this would be a better career for them to come in. So we're trying to reach back out and let them know that as well. With that, Mr. Mayor, that's kind of the report that I've got. I'm here to answer any questions that y'all might have.
Does anybody have any questions?
258.
258. Okay. I can tell you that I've actually, the governor just come in, and he's appointed a new commissioner of transportation. And so when I sat and talked to the commissioner, and he came in and said, we've got 962 projects that the law stated we have to do. However, there's been certain projects, just as the 258, where we're trying to make the argument that this is a high priority need in a rural community where it's going to help bring in jobs and help develop it. I can tell you that the commissioner himself was here, and he's looked at that, and we've had this on his desk, and he's also had it. I can tell you that Terry Weaver actually sat with the governor, and I know that they spent almost an hour together talking about 258. So I know that the governor is very well aware of 258. The commissioner is well aware of the 258. And this is probably, if I had to push one thing for the county, that would be it. If we could get 258 moved up over that list of the 962 projects. Nobody's made a commitment saying it's going to happen, but it is definitely being looked at and talked about right now. And I would tell you that if you asked me that a year ago, I'd be saying we're 8 or 9 years away before that's even going to be on the discussion list. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you, Mr. Bowden.
Commissioner, I appreciate your time. I work for you all. You have my number. If you need anything, please give me a call, okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and you're welcome here anytime. Thank you. Okay, item number 8 is presentation of Smith County Health Department annual report. Is anyone here for that? Mr. Railing, I know, came to our Budget and Finance Committee meeting and talked to us about this. You've got the information on pages 2 through 19 if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, we'll move on. Item number 9 is a letter of resignation from Smith County Commissioner Thomas Allen Gibbs. Everybody should have that in their packet. I'm going to ask Mr. Brandon Beller if he could address the situation there.
We received the resignation, we sent out ads like we normally do, but little error that correct advertisement didn't get run in the courier, so at this time, we're still well within our time frame, so we don't have to act on this today, but as far as the appointment of that post, we'll have to defer that over to the June meeting. So it's just an advertisement issue, nothing more, nothing less. That's all I announced tonight.
Thank you, sir. Anybody got any questions on that? We'll plan on filling that spot in our June meeting. Okay, item number 10 is just for your information, is appointment of Tommy Turner to the Smith Utility District Board. Again, that's just for your information. Nothing needs to be done. Item number 11 is approval of the March 11, 2019 County Commission meeting minutes. Does anybody have any questions or changes to those? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Glenn Reese. To hear a second.
Second.
Second by Jason Stewart. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 are all minutes from committees. If anybody has any questions about any items in there, again, just for your presentation, don't need a motion to approve those. Item number 18 is presentation of a corrected budget amendment from our March meeting. I talked to Ms. Daisy Denton today, and there's no changes to what was presented to us. It's just the copy that we received in the March meeting was cut off. So this has already been approved. Just need to update the paperwork, right, Daisy? So nothing needs to be done on that, just for your information. Item number 19 is the presentation of the Tennessee Corrections Institute inspection report for the Smith County Jail. Mr. Steve Hopper, Eugene, do you guys have anything you'd like to say on that, or? Sorry, I put you on the spot. Sorry. No, if anybody has any questions, I've looked over it, but if anything you wanted to say about it, just I want to give you the floor.
As always, commend the chief and our jail administrator and Beth Davis and Randy Glover. Year to year, it comes up the same way.
Absolutely.
We have no deficiencies found in our jail that we pass every year, and they certify us every year. We always brag about how clean it is, and I'm really proud of that, proud of our staff.
Absolutely. We'll give you a chance to brag, not try to put you on the spot. So. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you, Steve. All right. Items 20, 21, 22 are presentation and letter of approvals. These are things we've already approved. These are just the capital outlay notes. But these are all things we've already approved. Item number 23 is Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition report. Ms. Barbara Knappel.
If I don't have a podium, y'all will see my hand shaking in my head. Well, I'm glad to get to be in front of you all. You all have some handouts, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Drug Prevention Coalition. Hopefully everybody here knows what we do in the county and have been working to bring our county together since about 2011. We are very blessed, in our opinion, in our office, to have a community coalition here. And at this point in time, it's not any cost to the taxpayers as we work to bring our community together in this epidemic. So we are in the middle of an epidemic that decides the health of our families and our community. We can't ignore the fact that it touches every one of us in some way, and we have to take extreme measures, I believe, to bring about change in our community. There are 46 counties with funded coalition in our state. 5 new coalitions have just received state funding. And to read a quote from our director, Anthony Jackson, Director of Prevention and Early Intervention Services with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. He said these new coalitions are mostly in rural areas. And you guys heard Senator Pody talking about the rural areas and how we're focusing on that. But in those rural areas, there are resources that can be tough to access. But we find there's a sense of community in many of our rural areas that enables coalition leaders to bring stakeholders to the table and increase our collective impact. And I highlighted those words because we're only as successful as a collective impact. Based on the population in the covered areas, more than 75% of Tennesseans have a coalition in their county. Our coalitions are amazing groups of energized people who make a positive impact in their communities. They are uniquely positioned to identify the resources that are available, sense the needs of the community, and react appropriately. And that's a quote from Marie Williams, who's the commissioner with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. All coalitions work toward the goals of decreasing non-medical use of pain relievers such as opioid medications, preventing underage tobacco and underage alcohol use. And Mary Leslie Wakefield is our prevention coordinator who oversees the underage program. And I'm going to ask her to come in a minute and give just a few highlights of what she's doing in our schools and with our youth. One of the collective events that you guys probably are aware of, that coalition's statewide support, is the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, which is coordinated by the DEA. This is a prevention initiative with the goal of reducing theft or sharing of medications between family members or friends. The message that we want to give out in our community is to routinely count your medications, keep them in a locked box or cabinet, and we give those away with the coalition. We give those away free. We've given out, I think, about 78 as we've been doing our drug take-back events. And when those medications are no longer needed or out of date, we want you to drop them in the medicine drop boxes, which in our county are located where?
Sheriff's Office, Police Department.
Sheriff's Office and Carthage Police Department, absolutely. And we appreciate what they do, both those agencies, to help in that preventing diversion of medications. In the recent drug take-back event in the fall of 2018, more than 33,000 pounds of medications were collected in Tennessee. And that doesn't include what's collected and incinerated through those medicine drop boxes that we just talked about. Smith County recently held drug take-back events in South Carthage with the help of South Carthage Police Department and the Smith County Senior Center. And then we held another one in Carthage with the help of Carthage Police Department and Walmart. And we gave partnership awards to both those police departments. We really appreciate their help. And this is the first time Walmart has allowed us to partner with them on a drug take-back. And that's a pretty good thing when corporate Walmart gets involved at the local level. So we worked hard on that, and that hasn't been the case in the past. So we're pretty excited about that partnership because, again, we're a coalition if we have strong partnerships. According to the Department of Health, the number of overdose deaths have decreased in Smith County, and we want to continue to see that. Riverview Regional Hospital states the number of babies born drug dependent has drastically dropped. Many lives have been saved in Smith County and the Upper Cumberland region through the free Narcan training and dispensing of Narcan to agencies and individuals with at-risk family members. All of you probably know Tommy and Suzanne Angel are our regional overdose prevention specialists here, and they do a great job. And I want to say they said in Tennessee with that program about 20,000 lives have been saved since that program started in 2017. With the prevention programs addressing substance use in our schools and recovery support programs, including Recovery Court, I see some of our representatives from Recovery Court, I feel that we're making a real difference in our community. Recent student surveys we looked at just this year show results, they show a decline in the use of prescription drugs among our youth. However, we are still seeing a rise locally, I mentioned this to Budget and Finance last week, in underage alcohol and marijuana use. Many sectors of our community are working together to bring change, but since neither alcohol or marijuana are legal for underage consumption, that responsibility falls on us as adults to increase the barriers and to reduce the underage access to these substances. So we want to continue to work together on that. Another responsibility we have as a community and as elected officials is to support our industry, our factories, our businesses. Within the last couple of years, we're all hearing that our employers, our industries are not able to keep the number of employees needed to produce their products or to provide their services. And why do you guys think that is? Because of drug use. They can't pass drug tests. Absolutely. The number one reason that I hear over and over is that due to failed drug tests, drug-related accidents, or loss of work time. Within the past couple of months, I spoke with one of our larger employers here in the county, and I asked him if this was a problem at his business with his employees. He said, Barbara, it's worse than you can imagine. He said, because they cannot get enough employees that can pass drug tests, not only are drugs a problem, but there are discipline issues that they cannot address because they need everybody possible to be on a machine, to be working on that shift. He said they're concerned that if they drug test certain individuals, they'll have no one to load that truck or run that machine. We've heard that same story over and over in the past few years. Even raising hourly rates and benefits still leaves gaps in an unhealthy workforce in Smith County and other places. We say all the time, there are jobs here. There are jobs here. If you really want to work, you can find a job here. But the factories are still struggling to get enough people. With that being said, I saw back in January the Courier had printed information about Smith County's economic ranking. In the index value rank of 3,113 counties, Smith County ranks 1,780. Our neighboring Jackson County ranks as a distressed county, being in the worst 10% of the nation's counties. DeKalb County, another neighbor, listed as an at-risk county, ranking between the worst 10% and 25% of the nation's counties. So DeKalb County is at risk of falling into a distressed ranking. The good news is Smith County is ranked transitional. 1 step from being competitive status and 2 steps from the attainment status. Bordering Wilson County has reached competitive status. So you guys could see we could go either way depending on how we work together, how strong we are as a community and as elected officials. So as we look at these rankings, it's important that we find ways to increase support, strengthen our families and our workforce. Substance use in the workplace causes increased turnover, negatively affecting our industry and our economy. When an individual fails a drug test at work and loses their job, they're now unable to provide for themselves and their families. Children are neglected and abused, and DCS and foster care often gets involved. Those parents aren't able to purchase a home or a car, and they are therefore not able to pay taxes needed for us to be a prosperous and moving forward county. As county leaders, we work and make decisions with the goal of attracting new industry to provide good jobs. The Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition has been working here over 7 years to build capacity by bringing our community together to combat the disease of addiction in Smith County and its devastating consequences. One of our initiatives to help our industry are to offer drug-free workplace training, but we have a lot more work to do with our industry. A few years after the coalition began, I met with one of our community sectors and asked them to be involved in the work of the coalition. Their response kind of stung a little bit. They said, "I don't see the coalition going anywhere." I remember those words, and I realized that our very passionate, hardworking staff has made a difference, but a coalition is our entire community. All sectors. For our coalition to keep moving forward, and I believe we have moved forward, all sectors of it are going to have to work together. The state of Tennessee says we can't be a silo. We have to take down those walls and work together. We talk to the churches often about that. We have over 140 churches in Smith County. That's a pretty big army of people as we come together, and we're seeing that happen in our community. The coalition has brought more than $1 million into Smith County over the last 7 years, but it isn't money that will stop this. There's not enough money in state government. There's not enough money in local government. But people, connecting with people that brings lasting change, hope, and healing to our community and for our future. The only way that we can reduce the consequences of substance abuse is if we, as county leaders, elected officials, parents, businesses, faith-based organizations, law enforcement, and the court system, medical providers, youth, schools, recovery programs, community nonprofit service agencies, decide that we've had enough of the devastation and agree to partner together with our time and our resources to bring hope to families, to strengthen our workforce, and to build a healthy, drug-free community. I'm encouraged by the people that are joining forces. We now have more than 270 people praying every day for those that are touched by the disease of addiction through our Power in the Pews presentations with Randy Wakefield and Judge Collins. I believe this community coalition is a foundation that will continue together, carrying citizens together and make a difference for many years to come. Partnering together, we'll see our county move that next step from transitional to competitive, I believe. I want you to look real quick at your handouts. I know we have lots still on the agenda, and I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm going to ask Mary Leslie to come up while we talk about these handouts. The first handout that you have is kind of our 2018 report. It reminds us that addiction is a preventable disease. That means we need to do away with the stigma and realize that these are broken people that need help. The coalition serves Smith County in the role of being the Center for Prevention Education, for data and resources. And just a few things in the blue. that we worked on in the last year or a couple of years. We've done the Partnership for Success survey of all 8th, 10th, and 12th grade students in Smith County. So we can look at and we can provide that education to our school systems as to what's going on with those kids. We're reducing access, maybe to prescription drugs, but increase to alcohol. So we can see what our kids are saying by those surveys. And that's also how we get funded, by knowing what's going on in our community and how we can best direct funds. We have a great partnership with the Smith County School System and the Smith County Health Department to provide prevention education and events in the schools targeting underage tobacco and alcohol. I'm going to let Mary Leslie talk a little bit about that. We have partnerships with Judge Michael Collins. We provide, I don't know that this is unheard of in any other county. We get to come in here during juvenile court and provide parent and youth prevention education in juvenile court. I think that's a fantastic way to reach those families that may be struggling. I know Bridging the Gap is also here during that time, and they're providing support to those individuals as well as General Sessions Court. Community prevention, recovery, and support resources are displayed daily on 7 monitors throughout the county, and you also have that resource list here. We give out hundreds of these a month because Judge Collins is adamant about us getting resources to people that need help. This has transportation, it has our recovery support programs in here, rehab programs. So we wanted you guys to have one of these. Then you need more of these to hand out in your business. We'd love to give you more. As I said, we support local businesses with drug-free workplace training, and we are working to sustain the coalition by writing grants. And you can see down through there how coalitions make a difference. Changing policies, practices, providing information, building skills by providing training to local vendors, parents, teachers, provide support for local organizations, parents, the faith community, and schools in the way of resources, and promote community initiatives as alternatives to substance abuse. And then for those of you that may want to know more about what coalitions do, a couple ways you can find that out. I'm going to go ahead and just let you guys read that. So we, just in trying to keep on time tonight, but it does say on there how you can contact us if you want further information. Our community coalition meetings are held the second Wednesday at noon at the Smith County Chamber of Commerce. So a lot of you work during the day, and I realize that, but if you work locally, stop by, we'll give you lunch that day. So just see how you can become involved, because it's going to take every one of us being involved to make a difference in this, as I said. I think that's all I have, and I'm going to let Mary Leslie talk to you guys about her program. She does a great job.
Okay, I'm going to start out with a question. How many of you have heard of Jules? Just raise your hand. Okay, well, if you have teenagers in your home, go home and ask them, because they can tell you exactly what Jules are. I've been doing this presentation in the schools, and when I ask that question, nearly every student raises their hand, not so much the teachers. Okay? So, Jules is the e-cigarette that has become the most popular form of nicotine among our youth. If I had a Juul in my hand right now, you couldn't see it. It's very easy to conceal. And even if I flipped it over and showed it to you, you still wouldn't realize that's a device that gives nicotine because it looks like a flash drive. And that's actually, you plug it in the side of your computer to charge it up. And so what students do, they take that to their classroom, they can take a hit off of it, they down in their shirt, they can do it right in front of the teacher, and the teacher doesn't even realize what they're doing. And they're not going to smell tobacco smell because they use the flavored nicotine, so they're going to smell vanilla, strawberry, mango, and they're just going to, the teacher's just going to think it's their hair or their shampoo. So it's really, really easy to conceal, and that's one reason it's been so popular with our kids. Before Juuls entered the market, most e-cigarettes were 0.5 to 2% nicotine concentration. 3% was considered super high. Juuls are 5%, so they are double what any other e-cigarette is. So with their salt-based process, what Jewel has done, they developed a very efficient way to get nicotine. Instead of smoking a whole pack of cigarettes, you can use one of the little Jewel pods, and you get a whole pack of cigarette in a Jewel. And what the kids tell me, they go through about a pod a day, and most of them don't even realize how much nicotine it has in them. So more and more studies are showing the devastating effects of nicotine on the developing brains. Nicotine can also prime the brain as a first addiction, which puts them at risk for other addictions. And what is so alarming about this, that so many kids that would have never, ever, ever picked up a cigarette, but because they started juuling, they became addicted, and now they're smoking, and our rates for teenage tobacco is very high now. This year, Barry Smith, along with all the county school principals, allowed me and the Drug Coalition to show a PowerPoint. It was by Dr. Michelle Fiskus. It was called Duped by Jules. We showed it to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We kind of targeted those grades because we wanted to get to the kids at an earlier age so they can be more informed. Because education is to teach them about all the misinformation and just the outright lies about e-cigarettes. And my husband, Randy Wakefield, also gives a presentation on marijuana and effects from that too. So I also want to thank Mayor Mason. I know he's not here tonight. Senator Pody, Representative Terry Lynn Weaver. They worked to get the local option passed that you talked about earlier. I really appreciate that. Local option is a bill that will allow Smith County to make our own decisions about tobacco use and vaping in our parks. So I just want to thank all the commissioners, and also want to encourage you to continue to keep our parks safe for Smith County. Thank you.
Also, I want to thank our SROs in the schools. They are really on top of the juuling and the vaping and the cigarettes, and we're seeing that. We're seeing the results of that. We're doing some smoking cessation classes, so I really think our SROs are doing a great job staying on top of that too. Are there any questions?
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all so much for what you do. Okay, we'll move along to item number 24, CASA report, Bernie Morris. It's on page 75.
That was just page 75, not 75 pages.
Very good point.
The information is there. I came from directing Bridgman Gap for 3.5 years, and in July took over as director of CASA Smith County. Our mission is to advocate for the abused and neglected children of Smith County. Our goal is to reach each child and to have an advocate, a volunteer advocate that will help through the system of courts and taking them out of the home. We work with children that are taken out of the home. There are currently 59 children in DCS custody right now in Smith County, 104 in Macon County, where we don't have a CASA, which hopefully we'll be able to open one up over there. But we help them, we speak for the child, we look after their best interests through interviews. We provide court reports to the attorneys, judges, whoever's involved in the case. We advocate for a safe and permanent home where children can thrive, either through reunification with parents or kinship adoption or long-term foster care or adoption. CASA Smith County is part of the UCHRA office in Cookeville. My director's name is Kelly Arnold. Our office is jointly funded under a grant contract from the state of Tennessee of $20,000, and then a county contribution of $12,000, of which so far we've received $10,261. So just for your information. We also receive donations from organizations like FCE, Russell Cellular, and this year's River City Ball actually helped us. We were the charity for River City Ball and other individual contributions. And we thank you for each of your contributions. Volunteer advocates go through an application, interview, and reference check process before starting 30 hours of intensive training. A TBI background check is conducted. They commit to at least 1 year or until that one case is closed or completed. They donate 10 to 12 hours per month to do interviews, investigations, home visits, court reports, family and children team meetings, foster care review board meetings, assure the welfare of the child throughout their case, throughout their custody with DCS. They also are required to complete 12 hours of continued education each year. We began the year with 5 active CASA volunteers servicing 8 children. Now we have 8 active CASA volunteers servicing 14 children since July. So we have increased. We have closed 3 cases with 2 aging out and electing to receive follow-up services from DCS, and 1 successful adoption. Our volunteers have driven 4,100 miles and put in 567 case hours this year volunteering, and completed 85 hours of continued education. I want to thank you for your continued support for the CASA program in Smith County for the abused and neglected children. Our goal by next August is to have 20 advocates so that we can service 40 children and hopefully continue to grow. And I have an application here if you need something else to do, or if you have a wife or husband that needs something to do, or a parent that needs something to do and would like to help a child. God bless you. Questions?
Anybody have any questions, Mr. Morris? Thank you for everything you do. Thank you, sir. Okay, item number 25, Smith County Misdemeanor Drug Court Program Report. Jesse Peters. Hello, Jesse.
Glad to be here tonight. Go ahead and get into it. My presentation is pretty short, but I'll start by saying that as an individual that grew up in this county and actually used drugs and abused alcohol, as well as sold some drugs in this county. Hoping the statute of limitations is up on that. I'm proud to be able to represent Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court, and glad and honored to stand before you and be able to give this presentation. The Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court Program is a specialized court, grant funded, that uses intensive supervision, treatment services, sanctions, and incentives to address the needs of nonviolent offenders with addiction and or co-occurring mental health disorders. The goals of the program are to reduce the use of much-needed jail facility beds by nonviolent, chemically dependent offenders by instead getting them into rehabilitative programs, to reduce crimes committed as a result of drug use and addiction, to promote public safety through the reduction of these crimes, to increase the personal and societal accountability of these offenders, and at worst, provide these individuals with tools and resources that they can draw from later if they don't remain a part of our program. The Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court Program began in March 2015 under the direction of General Sessions Judge Michael Collins. Since that time, the program has graduated 16 participants. In 2018, there were 3 graduates of our program. It cost the Smith County taxpayer an estimated $50 per day to house each of these 3 individuals according to the jail's estimation. This includes staffing, contracted medical expenses, inmate supplies, etc. Because we removed these participants from the Smith County Jail and housed them at either an appropriate family member's home or in a trusted transitional house after treatment, this program saved the Smith County taxpayers over $54,000 for these participants alone. In closing, our program involves high-risk, high-need individuals. These people, simply housed in jail until their eventual release, does nothing to treat the disorder, dysfunction, and traumas that they have incurred in their lives. Without this treatment and accountability, it is just a matter of time before they reoffend to feed this widely misunderstood beast called addiction. We at the Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court Program do understand it, and we believe that with the proper guidance and treatment, we can continue to make a difference, one human being at a time. On behalf of all of us at the Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court, We would like to thank you for your continued support. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you for what you do. Thank you, sir. All right, we will move to item number 26, which is the Smith County Trustees 2017 Real Estate and Public Utility Tax Roll Report. Basically, this is our write-off from our 2017 taxes. Need to be collected. I think the numbers, if you look on page 77, 125,559 sounds like a large number, but that's really a great job for the amount of money they're dealing with. So, I do need a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Motion by Chaz, second by Frank Woodard. Any discussion? Roll call, Stacy.
Shannon Green,
Yes.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Dalton Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Ron Schumake,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Barbara Knappel,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Vane,
Yes.
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
Motion carries. And we need 5 volunteers to sign this, so everybody, a couple people can stop by before we leave. We'll sign that and get that taken care of. Thank you, Stacy. Item 27, 28, and 29 are presentation only. They're the quarterly financial report from Smith County Finance, the cash flows report, and the Smith County School System's summary financial report.
the cash flow, there was a handout for you, the corrected
Okay.
handout.
There's a corrected handout, Stacy says, for the cash flows report. I know Miss Daisy Denton's here if anybody has any questions on those. They are presentation only, so. All right, we will move to item number 30, which is budget amendments for the general fund. You'll find those on page 100 and 102. I'll take any questions. One thing I wanted to note, Daisy and I talked earlier today, Budget and Finance did pass this. You will notice on page 100 at the bottom there's a fund balance decrease that's $31,810. That number is for the, we don't have SRO officers in the schools yet. That's for overtime. The Sheriff's Department's worked with us, and that should, thinking that's going to get us, looks like through the end of the year, what it looks like, doesn't it, Eugene? Hoping so. So that's, if you see what that's the only, everything else is working within the budget. I think we talked about a county commission meeting before. I know we talked about budget finance. We knew that was coming, so that's what that one fund balance pool is from. Otherwise, if there's any questions on that, and I'm going to go ahead into resolution 2, which is in the solid waste fund. I think that's all working with our budget. Johnny's here if anybody's got any questions. Budget and Finance has recommended to approve that as well. Unless you guys want them voted on separately, I'll take a motion to approve both as presented. Frank? Motion to approve? Motion to approve by Frank Woodard, second by Mr. Shoemaker. Any discussion? Roll call, Stacy.
Shannon Green,
Yes.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Dalton Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Ron Schumake,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Barbara Knappel,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Vane,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
Motion carries. All right. Resolution 3, item number 32 is our application for the litter and trash collecting grant. This is the one we do every year. I don't know if there's any questions on that. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve it as presented.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Billy Bass. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Where'd that come from, Mickey? Dennis Hackett. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Resolution number 4, item number 33 is request for approval of Smith County road list. Dyer's Branch changed from Class 2 to Class 1. Mr. Steve Coble, you have any comments you want to make on that?
Type in there.
It's easy enough.
Honestly, we used state aid money about a couple of years ago, and it has to be a Class 1 road, we used state aid money. They just type in there.
Sounds good. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion approved by Tommy Bain. To hear a second. Second by Linda Nixon. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. And I hope I may have to call on you again, Mr. Coble. Resolution number 5, item number 34 is authorization for the mayor of Smith County to sign a proposal with Tennessee Department of Transportation for the state project, and then a bunch of long numbers. It's a federal project. I think this is for out Highway 25, Steve. Is that correct? Is there any other information you know on that? I think this is just their standard procedure, right? It's yeah, okay. My understanding, I've read through it, it's just their standard authorization to do the rock mitigation on that portion of the county. But if anybody has any questions, I'll do my best to answer it, or I'll try to call Jeff if I need to. But I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
It's approved by Mr. Kent. Do I hear a second? Second by Glenn Reese. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 35, resolution number 6 is appointment of Missy Manning to replace Ann Wagner on the Smith County Planning Commission. And any questions on that? Not, entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Tommy Bain or Dennis Hackett. Motion approved by Dennis Hackett. To hear a second.
Second.
Second by Tommy Bain. So that was reading ahead there, Tom. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 7, item number 36. Mr. Beller, I had a note from Jeff that we wanted to not proceed with this tonight. I'll let you answer that.
We have to have the master agreement approved before we can submit it to a resolution first, and we've not gotten there
Okay.
yet. So if we can just hold off on that till June.
Okay.
I think Ms. Denton has been in negotiations with him on that.
Okay.
Contact about getting that agreement put together for approval.
Okay. So we'll move number 36 to June. Jeff also wanted to pull number 37, resolution number 8, until he was here in June. And Jeff also wanted to do the same with item number 39. I know I'm skipping 38, but those 3 items we will pull until a June meeting. Now I'm going to go back. Item number 38 is resolution number 9, recognition of the 60th anniversary of WCZ radio station. So, Mr. Baker. Jeff's going to get these long things now. I have to read some. Resolution 05-2019, number 9, a resolution to honor and congratulate WKRM on its 60th anniversary. Whereas for 60 years, WKRM, I apologize, has provided its listeners with outstanding service, and whereas the origins of WRKM trace back to March 24, 1958, when Reggie Honey, the president of the Carthage Broadcasting Company, submitted an AM frequency surge to the Federal Communications Commission in Washington, D.C. Whereas upon approval of the application by the Federal Communications Commission, construction of WRKM AM 1350 began on April 6, 1959, and was completed on June 10, 1959. Whereas on October 21, 1987, Carthage Broadcasting Company sold and transferred control of WRKM to Wood Broadcasting, headed by President John Wood. And whereas on September the 1st, 2004, Dennis and Tracy Banka began operating WRKM under a local marketing agreement as Banka Media, Inc. And on September the 1st, 2007, bought the license to operate Wood Broadcasting, Inc., WRKM, a sister station, WUCZ 104.1 Get that one. FM. And whereas in the tradition and the original mission statements of Carthage Broadcasting Inc. and Wood Broadcasting Inc., Bank of Inc. continues to serve the local community with news, weather, local sports, and community announcements. Whereas over the past 6 decades, WRKM has provided countless hours of reliable information, quality entertainment, and caring public service to thousands of listeners and has earned a hollow place in the hearts of its fans. Now, therefore, be resolved by the body of the Smith County Commission that we honor and congratulate the owners and staff of WRKM as they celebrate 60 years of broadcasting and service to the community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say before the board?
Just wanted to thank on behalf of the Honey family, the Wood family, and ourselves, but also a special thank you to the late great Keith Williams, the voice of the Burnsville Tigers, 19 years of service of those 60 years. So thanks to Keith Williams for this year on the broadcasting, and thanks to Dennis Hackett for being a longtime employee of ours. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, we will move along to items number 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. These are all approvals of internal control assessments for the different departments inside the county. Daisy, anything you want to add to that?
Not really add, I'll just, I guess, explain for those of you who weren't here with us last year. This is something that needs to be approved annually. Every department has to go through a set of checklists to make sure that their office's duties are segregated appropriately, and they have to come up with their own set of internal control policies basically for their office. And that's just for the protection of the assets of the county.
Thank you, Daisy. Anybody have any questions? I will take a motion to approve items 40 through 48 together. If anybody wants to vote on them separately, I'll be glad to do that. And I'll take any motions you guys want to make.
Motion to approve all of them.
Motion to approve them all by Chaz Kent. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Kobe McKinney. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 49 is the fiscal strength and efficient government fiscal confirmation letter from the 3-star program requirements. I know a little bit about the 3-star program, but we've been a part of it. Smith County's been a part of it for a long time now, and it's a big part of some of the grants we've gotten over the years. But we do need to approve this resolution. Does anybody have any questions on it? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Glenn Reese. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Terry Gibbons. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 50 is the election of notaries on page 190. Find that list there. If anybody has any questions on those, otherwise I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Dennis Hackett, second by Frank Woodard. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. One other note I want to make before I entertain a motion to adjourn. You should have all received information. I think you know we've had several budget meetings so far, budget and finance meetings. We still have 3 more scheduled. One tomorrow night, May the 14th. Next week, Tuesday and Thursday, May the 21st and the 23rd. Budget and finance is still going through expenditures and seeing where we stand with everything. Daisy, I think, has sent this out, or I know you sent an email out. We've scheduled a meeting for May the 28th at the Chamber of Commerce. It's a work session. I would invite anybody who can come to come. I know we've got a new commission. Ben Rogers from CTAS, Daisy and I spoke to him today. He's going to come down and talk to us specifically about our budget, and just that way we can get feedback from all the county commissions, since it's something we all vote on. That's May the 28th, and then Budget and Finance has one more meeting on May the 30th, right, Daisy? That's our hope is Budget and Finance will take the feedback from that work session and then have something to present in June for a budget. So that's the game plan. I just want to make sure everybody's aware, and like Jeff said in his letter, make sure everybody's aware of May the 28th and hope everybody can make it. If there's nothing else, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Frank Woodard, second by Dennis Hackett. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Always.